Now the next thing to do is to attach soldering pads to the bar. In this case, I'm making use of this mattress which I prepared, which shows us where on the Hopkinson bar around the circumference the strain gauges will be positioned. So here I'm going to use large soldering pads to make my life easier, and I'm going to check how long my soldering pad stripe needs to be. And I can see I already cut some beforehand. I cut a stripe. I know that this will fit around the diameter of this bar. Now, once again I need to clean this pad. As most likely some dust and oil might have accumulated at the back. What I do then is to prepare a piece of tape and attach the stripe to the back of that tape. Then I add a bit of super glue, liquid version, to the back of the soldering pad. And now I can attach it to the bar. So in this case I choose a position which should be roughly where the strain gauge is going to be positioned. In this case here. And apply pressure to the top end and roll the soldering pads around the bar. All the time applying pressure. Continuing to roll around, stretching the tape so that it thins out. A few layers. Cut it off. And now I wait until the super glue dries. Now that the super glue has dried, we can remove the tape. That's very simple. We just unwrap everything like that. So we have to remove the excess super glue on the side where we're going to attach the strain gauges. For that you can use a knife initially to get rid of the large parts of super glue, and then start again with wet and dry. Here I recommend to really use the wet and dry for the bar as well as the soldering pads, because if you use wet and dry for the soldering pads, it will be easier to solder the strain gauge lead wires onto them afterwards. You can then check for any excess super glue which will be visible once you use the soldering, the wet and dry. Really, it's important here to make sure that not the slightest bit of superglue remains. Attached to the bar. And again, proper preparation. Moving anything from the bar. Once that's done, same procedure, cleaning everything. First with paper and then with acetone to make sure that no remains stay on the bar. Once that is done, I recommend following trick. You can see here I didn't manage to align the soldering pads carefully, and there will be some distance between the end of the soldering pads and the beginning of the strain gauges, and we must prevent the strain gauge lead wires from coming in contact with the Hopkinson bar. So what we can do is to attach a layer of tape to our soldering pads. And cut this layer to shape. So that we have a nice, clear and straight corner, the beginning of our soldering pads. Once that's done, we once again can clean everything. And the bar is now prepared to be strain gauged.